Hello everyone, how are we today? It's Emily here from Phoenix Gateway, and I wanted to do a little video on an experience that I've had recently that I have found so profound that I want to share what I got from my experience. And it'd be interesting if anyone else has had any similar experiences. They can write comments below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. So back in May of this year, I had my very first QHHT session. That is Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique, and it's a technique that has been brought through via Dolores Cannon. And I have to say, I've now had 2 sessions, and it's just been absolutely amazing what has come through, because you're working on an altered conscious level. You're really working more on the aspect of the higher self. So you're not coming through from a level of ego. You're coming through from a level where your answers that you're getting are from a very, very different density, so to speak. Anyway, to shed a bit of light on how it all came about is last September, I did a meditation with a group. And through that meditation, I got something much different than I recall what we were meant to experience at that particular time. I had this beautiful encounter with a male Arcturian. And I just remember him very tall, like he was over 6 foot tall. We were standing, face to face. It was just so beautiful and tranquil. All I could see, we were definitely on a different dimension somewhere, because there was like water surrounding us everywhere. We must have been standing in it, or that's what it seemed at the time. Very flat, very calm. So water is also emotion. So I also looked at it as a very calm environment. I did see some trees in the background, and there was some land. But apart from that, there was not a lot more that I saw. Anyway, at that time, through that meditation, he was explaining to me why it is that we had to experience the world as it is now, why we are going through this crisis, why we are going through this absolute upheaval where our whole foundations just seem to be falling apart. And, there's this major crisis that is happening on a worldwide scale. And what I'll do is I actually did a video on this. I don't remember if it was last year or earlier this year. I will share it and put it on as a link to here as well. So that was the first experience with him. About a month later, I remember it being after being out of lockdown, and I was just going through a really, really tough time. I was really, really finding it hard to find balance in my life. And for me, when that happens, the place I like to go is into the forest. Or that's what I was doing at that point in time, because I needed to reground and, really experience that sense of being. And I remember saying, I need answers. I need answers. I just don't understand what's going on in this world. I don't understand what I'm meant to be doing, at this point in time, about myself, where I'm at. Like, I was just totally all over the shop, like a lot of people were probably at that point in time. And what I found is that the Arcturian came through again. And he started to speak to me again. And it was not long after that we had major storms in the Dandenongs, and so many trees had fallen. And anyway, he was speaking to me. We were talking about the whole experience, the microbiome and how regeneration occurs, and it was that whole phoenix moment of the birth, death, rebirth. It was really quite profound. Anyway, time has gone by, and all I kept thinking about was this Arcturian male that has come to me on more than one occasion now, has presented himself in the most beautiful light. And I've never experienced that before, and I wanted to ask him, or I wanted to connect to find out his name. And I'm like, so I went into that energy, and I found like the first name, like all I could hear in my head was Archimedes. And I'm like, oh my God, Archimedes. Okay, so I now know the name of this Arcturian that I'm dealing with. And from that moment, I started thinking more and more and more about what it was that I was experiencing, and wanting to know more about him. And then in May, I got presented with, and I started actually looking for, the end of April, started looking for a QHHT practitioner, and I couldn't find someone. And by May, I just sort of said, okay, you know, I just put it out there to the universe. If I'm meant to find the right person, bring that person to me. I then went to one of the first functions I've been to in 2 years, and I met this beautiful soul, and we started talking to each other and just asking, you know, what each other does. And then she told me she's a QHHT practitioner. So, you know, that in itself was like, oh my God, that is awesome. I need to come and see you. So within 2 weeks, I went and had my first session, which was the end of May. And one of my very big questions was, who is Archimedes? What is the relationship between he and I, or is there anything, you know, is he just, you know, like, you know, is he just like a guide? You know, who is he to me? Now, I do need to say this. So to anyone that follows me knows that the work I do is based on sacred geometry. And I have a real interest not only in sacred geometry, but I love to research, and I love to look more into more, you know, to do things to do with ancient civilizations and lost ancient high technology. And I have a real infatuation with exopolitics. And I just love, you know, listening to the likes of Alex Collier, Elena Danaan, Michael Salla, just to name a few. So I've gone into this first QHHT, and I didn't put together at the time that, you know, the name Archimedes and the fact that I like sacred geometry have anything to do with each other, because I was just focusing on the fact that there was this beautiful, tall male Arcturian who had been coming to me and talking to me. So I asked the question, you know, who is this Arcturian? Who is this man, Archimedes? And all of a sudden I got, he is, you know, he is your soul family. He, you know, he is your husband. And I'm like, what? Like, you know, where is this coming from? And what I got was that he didn't come here to incarnate with me in this lifetime, but he will help guide me within this lifetime, in this, you know, as I have this physical experience. And I'm just looking at some of my notes that I wrote down, because like I just get so many things. It's like, oh my God. And what I got from this was the profound wisdom that comes through is something that he is here to share with me, and that I'm going to start seeing this profound wisdom and life through his eyes. Like he's going to help guide me in this lifetime, and, you know, show me how beautiful a place this world really is. And that is really, in itself was, you know, when I think about it now, that first experience that I had with him, the place in which we met, the dimension in which we were in, was just the most beautiful place. And it was just so tranquil and so peaceful. But, you know, at that point, I really didn't understand. Well, I wasn't even looking at it at that point in that way. And then what I started to see all of a sudden was Archimedes and I intertwining like the DNA strand, and you know, I could actually see it rotating, but I was seeing the most beautiful swirls of blue. And to me, when I think about it, you know, the blues is symbolic of the energy in which I was experiencing, seeing us, you know, intertwining like this DNA strand. I was then told, you know, Archimedes is my twin flame, but as I said, he didn't incarnate with me into this physical lifetime. He chose not to, you know, whereas I chose to be here now. And one of the biggest messages that I got was to know that I'm never alone, you know, that there is always, you know, like there is always someone with me, or there's, you know, like I will not ever be alone, I guess, in this lifetime. And, you know, he basically told me that we have a soul mission to complete together. And that he, you know, that he is here and he's guiding me through this. And really interesting because, you know, a lot of things that I've had to heal within this physical lifetime is to do with the aspect of love and the pain around loss, grief. You know, I've had a lot of loss and grief in my life through death. And it's about healing my heart. It's about knowing, as I said, not alone. And he is here to help me with that aspect, and that the way he's going to help me heal is going to be through the love frequency. And I just remember crying and crying and crying. And what he was started to show me was the love that we were experiencing, but he was showing me on a different, he was showing me in a different dimension. So he started taking me through the 6th, 7th dimension up into the 8th dimension. And then all of a sudden, I just remember feeling this elation and this aspect of pure bliss. It was quite profound. And I've just, and what I got after that, or, you know, the practitioner said, you know, are you ready to meld together so that you truly are working together? Like this was this massive activation that I've just received through a twin flame, through a, you know, a divine soul, a counterpart, and something that, you know, has activated me on a level that I've never experienced before. And I remember feeling ourselves melding into one. You know, it's like these two aspects of self. It's that yin, that yang, that masculine, the feminine, that just coming together to be one. And it's like knowing, you know, this is why I have this profound understanding and knowledge of sacred geometry, or to how I understand it and perceive it, because of this beautiful soul that has been a part of my starseed family, and just hasn't come and, you know, connected with me in the physical world in this lifetime, but is still there on a level which is, you know, out of this world, really. So I wanted to share that experience with you because I'd really love to know, has anyone had anything similar like this happen to them before? And if so, you know, what did you experience? So yeah, that's mine. That's what I want to share. I wish you a beautiful day wherever you are, and I look forward to speaking with you guys again soon. Okay, bye for now.